Yo, welcome back to SIIDA Talk. You're with Naz.
And that's AQ, guys. What's up? Alrighty.
Bro, beautiful day outside today.
Honestly, bro, the day is amazing.
I know. How's the week been?
Week's been really good, bro. Busy. Had a lot on this week. But yeah, we got through it. Got there in the end.
Yeah, same, bro. It just goes up and down, but we get there at the end of the day, so yeah.
100%, bro. I mean, look, last week, a lot of people at home, they found out about me and a bit about why Naz is the way he is, and a bit about my childhood growing up, and we got some great responses.
Yeah, good feedback.
Some okay ones. No, definitely great responses all around.
Yeah.
But yeah, bro, that just leaves one other host that people need to know about at home.
I've been pretty nervous about this, because you know me, I don't really speak about stuff.
Oh, exactly, yeah. I mean, you are a bit more reserved. I mean, out of the two of us.
In certain aspects in life, yes.
Definitely, bro. For our audience at home watching this, they want to know a bit about AQ and his life. Let's get into it, my bro.
Let's get into it, alright. So, look, first things first, guys, if you don't know me, my name's Killy. He calls me AQ, everyone calls me Killer, Kilo, Killy. Whatever you want to call me. But yeah, look, it started like decades ago now. I say decades, 3 decades ago. I'm not that old, relax.
Anyways.
Yeah, look, it started back in 1993. I was born in Liverpool Hospital.
Yeah.
Grew up in Minto. As a kid, I was very bubbly, very energetic, I like to say. A bit of a menace, a menace to a point where my mum and dad would put me on a leash.
Yeah,
every time we go to the mall and stuff. So that really summarises me as a kid. But yeah, 1993, young parents. Mum was about 20, dad was 22, going to uni over here. Mum was working away. A few years later, my beautiful sister came about.
Oh, nice.
So we had a nice little family going on, which only lasted a couple of years. So. Yeah, look, it lasted a couple of years. Obviously, it didn't work out between my mum and my dad. They split up. Moved back to my grandma's house with my mum and my sister. I think a few months later, Dad calls me up. I was only, 6 years old, 7 years old. He's like, hey, I'm moving to NZ. And I was like, oh. Me not knowing anything about the world, I was like, yeah, all right, let's go. I want to go on a plane. Yeah, let's go. I'm keen, So we went, landed in NZ, single father. Me, I was 6, 7 years old. We started off, he bought actually a convenience store. We called it a dairy.
Okay, yes.
Cliche, hey?
That is so cliche, bro. I didn't want to say it, but I'm like, yeah, that's pretty standard how things go, bro.
Yeah, pretty much, bro. You know what, he was trying his best. Obviously, we moved there, single father, little kid myself. Had the shop for a few months or so.
Yeah. Did you work in that dairy?
Oh, look, I did a bit of stock take.
Okay.
Counting the chocolates and taking one for me and one for them,
Oh, okay, yeah, as you do,
as a kid. But yeah, look, that lasted only a few months or so. One day I was at Islamic classes, which is after school, as you know.
Yeah.
Walking up the road, and the whole road was blocked off. And then I was like, what's going on? Oh, coppers everywhere and everything. Walked up to the shop and I see bullet holes on the window. I'm like, holy shit, this is fucking crazy.
That's pretty
As a kid too, So I went inside, Dad's talking to the police, he was full frazzled, and after that he was just like, nah man, this is not going to work out. So I was at the school at that time too, had my mates and all, and then obviously he's like, we need to move on the other side of Auckland. That was a bit hard because I had to leave my boys and stuff, so that was a bit tough. But we did a bit of couch surfing with families' houses, until my dad was able to, bring himself back up and find a good job, get on his feet kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So a few houses, a few schools too. So every time I settled in the school, I had to leave, which was sad, which was quite upsetting.
Yeah, I mean, how was that with friendship groups? I mean, you started off in Australia, obviously, and you had your sister here, and you guys had a union family, a really good family over here. So that you would have had friends here that you would have moved away from as well.
Yeah.
And then over in NZ, that would have happened again. So now this is becoming a constant pattern. How did that make you feel?
Look, it made me feel pretty sad. Even though I'll keep a smile on my face in front of everyone, I was still that bubbly kid.
Okay.
But behind doors in my own room, I would cry. It would be sad because my dad was very restricted also. So mates, obviously going through mates left, right, and centre was a repetitive thing over time. You know, the only time I'd actually look forward to in my younger days was around September, October, because we had the Fijian Indian soccer tournaments at that time.
Yes.
So that was the only time I get to see my boys and be with the guys for the whole weekend. And I actually cherish those moments till this very day. So love you boys, you know who you are.
Shout out to the soccer boys, man.
Yeah,
There's
man.
big love in that big. It's a very big community.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the Fijian Indian soccer community.
It is. So look, all that happened. We finally, you know, he finally settled down, found a job and all. We moved into a little house, just me and myself. My dad and myself. Sorry. Settled into school finally. A couple of years later, you know, mum and sis actually came about back to NZ. Mum and dad trying to make it work. You know, finally me and my sister. Actually, you know what? One funny story is, and my sister actually told me this yesterday. She didn't know she had a brother till she actually came back to NZ and she was able to understand things.
Oh wow.
I know, it kind of hit me yesterday, I was like,
damn.
oh shit.
That's heavy.
Yeah.
It's like I know AQ
Yeah.
for like years now, and I could definitely say that the relationship he has with his sister is that bond there between siblings is wild. Like these guys love each other, support each other in like every aspect. So like honestly, hats off to you guys straight up.
No, she's my rock out girl, and I'll do anything for her. So that was a bit like.
Shout out to Mira, big love.
Love you. And so that was a bit confronting when she told me that yesterday, but it was a bit, you know, it kind of made sense because she was young, very young, the first time mum and dad split up. Finally, you know, that relationship started building so much, and we're so strong now. We went to the same school and all, that was going well. And then I think I was in year 7. Mum one day came up to me. Obviously, mum and dad were still fighting, arguing that whole time. They made it work. They tried their best, right? Mum comes to me one day and she's like, hey, if I was to ever go back to Australia, would you come with me? Look, at that point, year 7, you know, you're like I think 12, 11,
Yeah,
something like
that's
that.
11.
About 11, yeah, year 7, you know, I was playing soccer, I was playing in the footy team, I was playing all the sports you could think of at year 7. I had a good group of mates, you know, finally was able to finding myself, you know.
And a base and everything.
Yeah. So I was like, I go, no, I'm not going to come through. And then one day I went home, mum and my sister actually packed everything up and they left. It was just me and my dad. And I feel like that's when everything kind of went down here. You know, obviously my dad didn't take it too well. I finally started seeing a lot of loneliness coming up ahead, which actually did happen. So look, year 7 and 8, I was just doing my own thing. My dad moved out, you know, found a new place. Dad was doing long shifts. I would go to school, you know, he'd be still at work.
So this is still in New Zealand?
This is all in NZ, bro.
Yeah.
This is all in NZ.
Yeah.
You know, over time, where year 8, year 9 was going well. Dad finally got remarried to my beautiful stepmom. I love you so much, and I'll tell you guys why I feel like I dedicate my whole life to her.
Okay.
Which I'll tell you, very soon anyway.
Yeah.
You know, year 9 was going well. Finally found myself. I was playing first level football. And I was just very, like, you know, I was really nice, you know, just happy going and all. Everything was working out. I was really close to my father too, my granddad, over the time. And then year 10, this is where the big thing happened in my life. Like probably the most biggest thing ever that happened to me.
Yeah, wow.
So year 10, you know, going into year 10, still playing for the first 11 team. Kind of found myself. I was like, you know what, football is my thing.
Yeah.
I was so dedicated to my football that my father would be like, you know, you're always talking about football. I want to take it away from that. So around year 10 time, you know, he had no idea I was playing soccer at all. My father did, and he took me to my games and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I'll say my dad, I was going to biology classes at 5:30 in the morning. Like, who the fuck does biology classes at 5:30 in the morning? I'm pretty sure he knew. And he'll be like, where are you going? I'm like, oh. It was like 5:30 in the morning, he'd be walking into the door. I'm like, where are you going? I'm like, oh, go to biology classes. Like, okay.
That is gold.
That kind of hit, but you know what? That kind of fucking hit me in the backside, because one day I was at training, 5:30 in the morning, you know, we're full training and stuff, on the AstroTurf. Went to go hit the ball, and some guy came and swiped me from underneath.
Oh.
Yeah, fucking hurt. Swiped me from underneath, fell straight into my shoulder. Then the pain started.
Yeah, wow.
You know, so I had a real bad shoulder pain, and it lasted like a couple of weeks actually, I'd say. Wasn't going away. Didn't tell my dad. He had no idea. Till one day he told me to lift something up, and I was like, oh no, I can't. And then that's when he found out, and he's like, how long is this pain going on for? I was like, 2 weeks. I was like, I don't know what's going on. So we went to the doctors. They didn't do any tests or anything. They just gave me Tramadol off the bat. Tramadol is a very, very strong painkiller. And
It's a very strong
a
painkiller.
lot of people out there know it too.
And you were in high school.
Year 10. I was only 13.
Yeah,
About 13. Yeah,
about
13, 14, 2008. Yeah. So the pain still wasn't going away. As much as I was popping these tramadols, pain was not going away. So I went back to my dad and said, look, I can't bear it. So we went back to the doctors. He demanded for a blood test. Next day, I'm sitting at graphics class, just tripping away. I was kind of like the joker in school too. So just always joking around, having a laugh and whatnot. I was in a sling. Then I get an announcement up in the intercom. Office lady's like, hey, Kill, gotta come to the office. And I'm like, fuck, here we go.
In trouble again.
In trouble again, yeah. Everyone else is looking at me like, what'd you do now, Kill?
As you do.
As they do, So went to the office. Lady's like, hey, look, you need to go home. I'm like, why? What's going on? So look, I can't really disclose. Go home, speak to your dad. Went home. Dad was just bawling his eyes out. I'm like, what's going on?
That would have been the longest car ride home, bro.
Oh, bro, I actually walked home.
Oh. That would have been the longest walk.
Yeah, because I had no idea what I did. I was like, fuck, am I going to cop it?
Obviously when you get sent home, you're like automatically, your
50
butterflies
things. Yeah,
start going.
bro. I was nervous as fuck. So I went back home. Yeah, Dad was full bawling his eyes out. He's like, go upstairs and go pack your bags for a couple of weeks. I'm like, hey, well, what am I doing for a couple of weeks?
Yeah.
He's like, well, we're going to the hospital. Here's me thinking, I was getting probably shoulder surgery or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever it could be. And then my stepmom walks in too. And I remember this day, that moment where I was just upstairs, and I was listening, what they were saying in the kitchen, and they were just crying. I'm like, I don't know. So I grabbed my bags, went downstairs. I'm like, all right, let's go. Don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Now that was the longest car ride from the car ride to the hospital.
Okay.
All right, because they're not telling me anything.
Oh.
They're just, I can tell they're crying.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting there like, fuck, okay, maybe just a shoulder surgery. I don't know what's going on.
No conversation.
No conversation, nothing. It was just silent.
Wow.
So I get to the hospital, chilling out for a bit, waiting around. Doctor takes us into a room. Now I'm like, okay, this is pretty intense. What's going on here? Then the doctor's like, hey, I'm sorry to say, done all your tests and all, but you have ALL leukemia. I had no idea what that was. I was like, hey, doctor, can you speak English, please? And then I looked at my parents and they were like, their heads were down. And then he said to me, he goes, Kill, son, you got blood cancer. I kind of sat there for a bit. I'm like, oh, what's going on? And then the first thing I asked him was like, I didn't really cry or anything. And then I was asking him about my football. So how long am I going to be away from football? He's like, look, it could be 3 to 5 years. That's when my whole world just went black and white. Because football for me, growing up was my escape. I was very restricted growing up. My dad was quite strict on me. That's why, big ups to him, learned a lot of morals and values over that time.
Definitely.
But my football was just taken away this time around.
Yeah.
So we went back home, went and told the family and all, and that's when my cancer journey started.
Wow.
Yeah, I won't get into it too much. We
Yeah.
may get into a segment about
Look,
mental health.
we're definitely going to be covering all sorts of health with mental health as well. So we'll get into
I'll give you a bit of a brief anyway, like the journey of it. So I was in isolation for about 6 months, no communication with the outer world. All my hair was gone.
Wow.
We had a bit of fun with it too. My dad, shaved my hair like Mr. T and gave me a mullet, all that kind of stuff. Had a bit of fun with that.
Yeah.
Met a few boys that were going through the same journey.
Okay.
Which kind of was a bit, how do I say, it kind of relaxed me because I knew I'm going on this journey with these guys. And we became very close.
Okay.
Shout out to the boys, you guys know who you are, just do it on the socials. That was a bit of that, going big fucking needles in my thighs, going blood transfusions, all that kind of stuff. It hit the family hard, hit myself obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a hard time. I'll dive into it at a later stage anyway. So that happened for a couple of years. Those couple of years I actually missed out of school too.
Okay.
So I missed out on my crucial years. Obviously at that time, year 10, 11, you're growing up, you're understanding the world, and I felt like I was so behind.
Yeah.
So in year 12, I think it was, I went back to school. Big chubby kid, I was so nervous to go back to school. Honestly, shout out to the group that I had. You guys all know who you are. They brought me back up,
Yeah.
But once my confidence started building up, I looked at myself one day and I said, you can still keep looking like this, or you can work on yourself and bring that football, bring that energy back. So I trained hard, footy, football, trained hard with that. Got back into the soccer team. I was playing like Division 3 or so.
Definitely.
And then the partying started.
Yeah. So just on that, like you got back into your soccer and all of that, and you looked at yourself in the mirror, and you realized you're like, no, like this is not making me happy, and I want something that makes me happy. Now, to understand, like for me to understand that process, and for people to understand that there has to be a lot of self motivation to come from that. How did you like muster up the courage, or like how did you find that within yourself to be like, yeah, okay, you know what? Like, was it like what brought you back to soccer?
To be honest with you, like obviously what I've mentioned before, that's happened from 1993 to that point of my life.
Yeah.
I was like, I haven't given up since, right?
Okay.
And I could just tell with the people around me also was the amount of support that I had around me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still to this day like cherish it to the bottom of my heart. They gave me the strength. They gave me the energy, and it was either you can keep going that way or get yourself back up and get yourself back in the footy field. That was my escape once upon a time.
Yeah.
I want to bring that back. And
I love that, bro. I love that.
So, because over that time period also, when I was in the hospitals, I was getting that chemotherapy, there's bone marrows and all that kind of stuff. It was a really dark place. And I was like, the world is not a dark place. And I knew that in me.
Okay.
So that's when I built myself up, bring that confidence back. Started clubbing at 17 also. Yeah. So a lot was happening at that time, and then I felt like I was an animal that just came out of a cage, and I started getting into that world very deeply, right?
Yeah.
So at the end of that year, I was 18 at that point now. Back with my mum and my sister, which I valued a lot. So yeah, that's when I decided to move to Australia.
Yeah.
And that was it. Yeah.
That was pretty heavy. Yeah.
That's it. Sweet.
So yeah, bro. Didn't talk to Dad. That was heavy. So you didn't go back to New Zealand, and now you've got this rift between you and Dad.
Yep.
And but on the same token, right? Like you're here in Oz and you're there for your sister.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, obviously I know how close you are to your sister. So that's a happy place for you.
Yeah.
And I know you're close with your dad, and now things are sweet, which we'll get into. But like I know you're good with Dad now, so that would have put you between a rock and a hard place, right? So how did that make you feel, bro?
It was tough, bro. It was tough. But every time, I didn't want to. One thing is, I never want to let my dad down. Obviously, we all don't, right?
Yeah.
We never want to let our parents down. But every time I looked at my sister, I'm like, we missed out on so many years together.
Yeah.
Growing up, understanding each other. Which we have the best understanding now. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, it was a tough place being in that middle space. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
I had to do what I had to do, and I guess if I didn't make that move, I wouldn't be the person I am today. So,
do you regret that decision, staying in Oz, or if you could go back, would you change it, or would you just keep it as it is?
I'll just keep it as it is. You can't change the past, and I can't dwell on the past either, which
Yeah.
I did for a few years. Don't get me wrong,
100%.
which I'll get into. But yeah, look, it does fuck you up mentally
Yeah,
in a way too.
it does,
So
yeah.
yeah, look, that all happened. Moved to Oz, back with my mum and my sister. Mum was in Loretto at that time too. Everything was going alright. I was going okay. And, I started playing football here.
Yeah.
And then into the end of 2012, mid 2012, I broke my leg. This time around, I didn't take it right. I didn't take it well.
Damn.
Because I was like, left, right and centre, every year so far, something's happening.
Something's coming up,
yeah,
man.
bro. It was annoying. It was frustrating.
And like, I mean, obviously you're big on soccer, and this is again affecting your escape, like your release,
My place.
Exactly.
So yeah, that was pretty tough. That's when the partying and everything just started getting more immense. And you know it.
We were there together, bro.
So, I started partying. I started being a bit of a rebel, I'd say, with the fans and all. Always looked out for my sister though.
Yeah.
Made sure of that. End of 2012, got into a relo.
Yeah.
Even though relo, it was just partying, benders and all that kind of stuff. I think, relo was going well, but I wasn't recovered in myself in that time.
Okay. So you still had healing to do.
I still had healing to do. I feel like the person in the relationship at that time also had a bit of healing to do. So
Yeah.
it was a couple of broken people just together.
Okay.
So we just kept partying, kept bendering, kept doing all that kind of stuff. I actually lost purpose in my life. I won't lie.
Yep.
So that trickled on for a few years, till like 2015. 2015, my relationship didn't work out at that point. I asked my dad, hey, look, I need to come to NZ. Can you give me a one-way ticket? Because I was like, you know what? Nothing's actually working out here in Australia.
Yeah.
What have I done? What have I missed? Like, what do I do from here, right?
Yeah.
So I went back to NZ.
Yeah.
My granddad, my dad at the time, he was very sick. He only had a few months. So like, I'm very grateful. I got there, got to see him, hang out with him for a bit.
Yeah.
Cherish the moments that I had with him till a few months later, he was gone.
Yeah.
So that was another thing that hit me on top.
Wow.
So it was just tough. It was tough. It was really tough. And, my dad, he held it really well.
Yeah.
Our relationship was very good at that time. Still is till this day.
Yeah.
And we grew very much closer too.
Yeah.
So was there for about a year, got into a white collar job. I was doing just selling NBN, broadband, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I started building my confidence back up, started finding myself again slowly. So I said to my dad, I was like, look, okay, I missed Australia, I missed that life. Like, I'm not going there just to party and all, but I know there's more opportunities there. I think I'm more mature at this point.
Yeah.
Let me go.
Yeah.
So I came back to Sydney, sorry. Obviously back with you boys too.
Yeah. It was good to have you back, bro. Honestly,
thanks, bro.
I mean, we did miss you for
I
the
fucking
year.
missed you guys heaps too, that whole year.
Yeah.
So moved back to Oz.
Yeah.
Stayed in the white collar job. Got into sales. Became a sales executive. Now that had its own challenges too, right? Every Friday night, going out with the boys.
Yeah, tell me a bit about like this sales executive job. That sounds pretty interesting. Like, I mean, a bit of a change, like NZ, all of these things are happening now. You scored a really good job.
I did, and it kind of changed me too, molded me into a man, I like to say. The challenges in that was the work was fine.
Okay.
I love sales. I love to talk to people. I love finding a solution for businesses out there, right? That's just my thing. But then the whole partying side of things was still there. It was still fucking there.
Yeah.
Every Friday night, boys, we worked hard from Monday to Friday in front of the computers, getting sales, all this kind of stuff. Let's go out.
Yeah.
So Friday nights will turn into a Sunday morning, and I'll be like, oh shit, I'm coming home now. So that went on for a couple of years too. Then COVID hit, which was the toughest time for every single person out there. And big shout out to everyone for getting through it all.
Honestly, yeah.
And for where you guys are at now. Those were the toughest times, now stuck here. By the way, sorry, I didn't even mention that I actually got kicked out of home back in 2014. So I've been doing my own shit back since then.
So yeah. So this is obviously kicked out of home prior to that, the executive sales job.
Correct.
And then obviously the sales job came out with the independence of being on your own.
Moved out of the area.
Wow.
Close to the city.
What was that like, moving out of the area, moving away from everyone?
Bro, to be honest.
Like, because you were still like, I mean, you moved to New Zealand, you know what it's like moving away.
Yeah.
But then you're still here, but you're sort of away, you know what I mean? What was that like? Tell me.
Look, I was away from all the boys. I was away from everyone, even my own family. Like, I was just there by myself. No one was around.
Yeah.
I think for me, it was a blessing in disguise, I like to say. Yeah. Because if I stayed in the area, I would have been still stuck in that whole partying, bendering, even though I was doing it by myself over there. Yeah. But it was a whole different vicinity. It was in the city. It was city life.
Yeah, exactly.
So I've done the whole area life, but also done the city life too.
Yeah, okay.
So it was hard, like being away from you boys and from the family, but at the same time, I had to go do my own thing.
Yeah.
Go find myself. Go just get your fucking self out there and do it yourself.
And would you say that you established yourself at that time as well? Like, set your base. You're like, I know what I want to do. I'm building. And like, tell us a bit about how that career changed you as a person.
Yeah, look, obviously sales, you get a bit of an ego.
Yeah.
That starts building a bit. Ego to the point sometimes where it can be dangerous also,
Okay, yeah.
as we know.
There's good ego, there's bad ego.
There's bad ego. So I went through that little transition, but I kind of found myself. I kind of love the sales industry. Started obviously with the partying and all that happened. Yep. But then 2019, COVID hit. I was still in the sales role, but this time around, everyone was working from home.
Oh, wow.
And I was around four walls by myself. And I said to myself, look, there's no more bendering, there's no more partying. What are you going to do now? That's when I found my purpose, the gym.
Wow.
Yeah. Made a little put my funny thing in my apartment, took my bed out of my room, made that hole into a gym, and that was me. Just fucking my morning, afternoon, night, just training. You know, so that was all going well. A couple of years, obviously in COVID, got into another relo. Look, that was going also not too great either, and I found myself in the same. How do I say? In the same cycle as I was in my last relationship.
Okay.
So then I reached out to a mind coach. I'm like, I don't know why I always keep chasing the partying. I always keep chasing these girls when I know it's not going to work out. What am I doing? Like, what's going on? One thing he said to me, he goes, Akil, he goes, you're looking for the freedom that you never got when you were younger, but also looking for the self-love that your parents never gave you or were not able to give you.
Yeah.
Right? So that fucking hit me hard. That hit home.
Yeah, because like, I mean, it does make sense in terms of like how your life has been traveling so far, you know what I mean? Yeah. And you have been looking for that in terms of the party lifestyle. Like, to be honest, like I didn't know too much about the relationships, but in terms of the party lifestyle, like I can definitely say, yeah, I mean, I was there with you too, bro. And so that would have been a whole nother...
Honestly, but it was the best advice that I ever got in my life. Because it kind of, I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, this is the gap, this is the hole that you have been in. It's time to get yourself out of it. Only reason being is, and he was spot on. He was right on the money. Yeah. With that particular comment. So, you know, after that, now I'm just like confident, you know, I found myself. I know what my purpose is now. I always said, and I'm so glad I'm doing this with you, but going through my cancer days, and I actually forgot about this, you know, over the time period that I was living in Australia, raving, partying, all that kind of stuff, as I lost my purpose. I always said to myself, and I made a promise that the shit that I was going through at that time while I was going through cancer, I'm hoping that I can come up with a platform in the future to help people out there no matter what they're going through. And this is where we are now. SIIDA Talk, baby. So
beautiful. You almost manifested this years ago, my bro. Man, I did. I love that.
Now we're just doing this now. You know, slowly we're getting there, but I can see it in myself that, you know, we'll get it to a point where, you know, we'll be helping out.
We'll be able to help other people out.
I'm hoping so, yeah.
Definitely.
But yeah, that's my story, man.
I love that, bro. And honestly, bro, like that is very, very touching. And like, honestly, I'd like to thank you for sharing that because it is very personal and it definitely delves and we find out a lot more about you. Yeah.
Well, look, this whole last couple of segments about myself and yourself was who is behind SIIDA Talk and why our purpose is to do this, right?
Exactly right. For the people at home, you know AQ, you know me now. But in saying, shared a very, very deep personal story with everyone here today, all our audience. 3 takeaways from your life. If you could give the audience something to take away from this and what you live by from your stories and from your experiences, what would they be?
Honestly, guys, there's 3 words that I'm sure everyone's heard of. Just never give up. Just never give up. No matter how much life can throw at you, just remember one thing, the world is still going round. It's only up to you to make that difference and to make that impact in your own life. You know, we come here alone, we're going to go alone. So it's all up to you, which leads into just stay true to yourself. You know, follow your ambitions, follow your passions, and don't let anyone get in the way of it. Just go for it. You know, you have... I am doing it now. Exactly. Just do it, right? And third thing is, guys, just be grateful for what you have around you. Your friends, your family, you know, beautiful weather outside. Like, just be grateful for anything, you know?
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, I wake up every morning, I go outside, take a deep breath in. I'm like, I'm very grateful to be alive today. So just those are the 3 things, my bro.
Yeah, bro. I mean, look, guys at home, that's some great takeaways and some great advice. Thank you so much for sharing, you know, these personal stories. And I'm sure people at home will take away and they'll love to listen to, you know, and find out a bit more about you.
Yeah, look, guys, honestly, like, obviously it's been a bit of a roller coaster in my life. I've helped a few people out there. So anyone wants to reach out, you know, any kind of situation that you guys are going through, you want to reach out to the SIIDA boys.
We're here.
We're always here.
We're here for you guys.
We'll be responsive too.
Definitely.
Yeah, we're here.
All right, guys. Thank you so much, AQ. And guys, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate the support. I mean, it's phenomenal.
It is. Oh, well, honestly, the love, the support, the feedback that we're getting is just amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, so thank you for that and stay tuned, guys.
Stay tuned, guys.
Love yous.
Love yous.